kids. Happy Homebrew Wednesday. Monday? So I haven't done an official like homebrewing video in a while. A lot of reviews. But I just did Mike's beer, so I figured I'd do a do like a double dip for old my buddy Mike Dean. So what we're drinking here, there's no way to make this beer look really good. This is a raw IPA, fermented with Hornindal Norwegian yeast. I'm not saying the word, even though I'm really having a love affair with this Hornindal yeast. It is, as you can see, pretty hazy, but it doesn't. So this is a twin. I made a bigger batch and split these beers, and this one I think got a little oxidized. It really darkened. It still tastes super good. It doesn't taste oxidized, but just enough to shift the color a little bit, because its twin was super bright yellow and looked like sunshine, and this one looks like hazy. But it tastes really good. This one was dry hopped with Mandarina Bavaria and Azaka. Yeah, Azaka and Mandarina Bavaria. So they both had the same treatment on the hot side. I basically made a big ass mash. Like, I filled my 11-gallon kettle to just about the top, just about to the point where it was really sketchy. But I wanted to try it, and I wanted to see if I could get 2 5-gallon batches off of this thing. So what I did is I made a big mash. I sparged. Beer came out at 10:58 for all 10 gallons. I really have a carboy in a bad position. I can't see my whiteboard, but I don't think we'll need it from here forward. So yeah, so 10 gallons of 1058 wort. I brought it just up to like 190. I might have brought it just to a boil and then killed it. I essentially wanted to keep all of the protein in the beer to see, I kind of wanted to promote haze stability, because I know I've seen some stuff where people are, I'm making a hazy beer. I put it in the keg and 2 weeks later it's dead clear. I think there are ways to keep the haze in, and there's some skeezy ways like flour and weird stuff, but I don't think that's necessary. I've had luck keeping hazy beers by mineraling the living shit out of them, which lends its own kind of cool mouthfeel and stuff. This one did have a pretty high sulfate to chloride ratio, right? Sulfate to chloride? I think so, at about 5-to-1. If anybody's like, no, you dumbass, it's chloride to sulfate ratio, could also be true. I can't remember, and I can never remember, so I always have to cruise the forums or look back at a water profile that I've done previously. But it's got a nice soft feel in the tongue. So brought that up to 190, killed it, chilled it down to like didn't chill it down. But it's been a while ago that I made this beer, and I've made like 4 beers since then that are all in various states of fermentation around here. So, but I thought this was worth talking about, and I never had time to make a video before, and whatever. So I dumped 9 ounces of Citra in a whirlpool, and I just let it free cool down for like 45 minutes. I think it started out at like 195-ish by the time I got it up, put the chiller in it, got it, all the water hooked up, and then I spun my Citra in there and stirring and everything. I think by the time I started to actually chill, it was down to around 160 from just sitting for 45 minutes and stirring and stuff. I'm realizing maybe I would like a pump to do some of this recirculation for whirlpools and stuff. I think that might be cool. So what I did then is I split it into 2 carboys. I pitched the Hornindal Norwegian Farmhouse Awesomeness and let it go. And for the Hornindal yeast is an absolute mother. Like, I've never seen beers ferment so freaking hard after less than 12 hours. It is literally, it's crazy. I very much like this stuff. Pitched the yeast at 95 degrees, held it in my fermentation freezer at 95 and ramped it up to 105 after like 2.5, 3 days. I thought maybe the blow-off tubes were gonna like chip holes in the growler that I run the hoses into. It's nuts. Super cool yeast. I almost don't want to make videos about it because it's so cool that it's crazy. This stuff is gonna be everywhere in 2 years in commercial breweries, and it's starting to ramp a little bit right now. But once they really figure out what to do with it, it's gonna be sweet because it makes crazy good beers. This one, for instance, the fermentation profile when you run this Hornindal that high is citrus crazy. Kind of orange lemon character. So in this beer, the Azacca and mainly the Mandarina Bavaria, I think, is really pushing the orange in here as well. Bitterness is a good level. It's hard to judge exactly what it is. If I had to like just by tasting it, it's about 50 IBU. But when you're just pulling all your bitterness out of the whirlpool, it's tough to throw that into Beersmith and expect anything legit to come back out the other side. So, but it's a super cool, I don't know, it's a cool beer. I like it a lot. The first keg I dry hopped with Cryo Citra and Mosaic. That beer, I killed that keg so fast, it about made my head spin. I was really sad when it kicked, and I thought, holy shit, how is there not at least 2 gallons of this left? But it went down fast. And I shared it with a bunch of people and took it places, and, you know, as you do when you have a good beer, it's like you're proud of your kid, so you gotta put pictures on Facebook. But it's kind of the ugly duckling twin. It's also drinking really well. I was angry at it because when I poured the two side by side, this one just, it has a more hazy, you know, like a burnt orange color. Side by side, this one looked awful. This on its own, it doesn't look terrible. It's just not what I wanted. I would like a brighter, hazy beer. So I'm refining my process a little bit. This one got auto-siphoned into the keg. The other twin came out of a spigot. So I really think that's where I picked up some oxygen and turned the color of this beer, because these hazy beers, especially if you don't boil them, they're super prone to darkening. So maybe I'm finally on the I hate auto-siphon train. I was on the auto-siphon train for a while, but now that I really have a side-by-side experience with it, yeah, I'm kind of switching everything to bottom feed spigots and fully purging a keg with CO2 before I run beer into it. And we'll see. I actually have a beer in the kegerator right on that handle that is my next run at a raw Hornindal IPA. It's a little lower ABV, and it's got all the citrusy hops. It's got Medusa, Azacca, and a little bit of Mandarina. So I am keg hopping that as well. So I wanted a little bit more dry hop character out of this twin. So that's what I'm hoping I'll get with the big keg hop. I got 5 ounces of keg hop, and I went 6 ounces of regular dry hop. This one really pushes citrus, and I actually think a lot of it is yeast character. But it is a big orangey, lemony monster of a beer. So super cool stuff. I'll shoot a video of that one when it comes out, because I have high hopes. I poured one just like a halfie to check the carbonation just before I flipped this video on, and it is not carbed at all. It's been on 30 pounds of pressure for 2 days, and it is just like, nah, I don't want to be carb, so I'm not going to be. I don't know why, it's weird, but Wonder if I have a leak. That would suck. I still have gas though. I don't know. I'm gonna go double check for leaks because I don't think there's any leaks though. But I'm gonna check. So you should be proud of me for thinking of that. Otherwise, I've got some other beers that I'll probably do some little videos about. Right there, I have a hard cider that's made from all cider from a little orchard a mile and a half from the house. And it also has 3 pounds of local honey from a guy I know that raises bees. So we've got that thing is going to come out to be about 8% cider. We're having a little cider contest for Christmas with all my wife's brothers. So I have to dominate those guys. Also have a chocolate porter that has a bunch of lactose and cocoa powder that I'm debating whether I want to hang some coffee in that keg to make like a mocha porter, or if it comes out as good as the little sample I took, it might just stay like a chocolate milkshake porter, because that's pretty good. And then in the fermentation chamber straight behind me, I have a Berliner that is right now aging or sitting on a whole bunch of flaked coconut and pineapple to make a pina colada Berliner, because I thought that sounded like an interesting floor device kind of deal to do. Still debating whether I want to dry hop that too. I might put a couple ounces of maybe Azaka, because Azaka does a little bit of pineapple. But we'll see. Those are all up in the air. I got all kinds of time. I just have to get them all kegged before Christmas, and I have 4 full kegs in there. So I'm really trying to just chew through pints out of the kegerator, because I don't really want to dump any of this beer out, and I don't really feel like bottling it because I have a fridge that is way too full of bottles already. So I just need to drink. Yeah, that's kind of my deal. So yeah, if you don't want to boil a beer, don't do it, because I'm on this raw beer train, and I might play with this yeast, maybe a 15-minute boil and a little bit lower fermentation temperature to try and even back down some of this citrus character, because it's pretty aggressive. But it's pretty awesome that you can turn a beer this fast with such a crazy fermentation character. I really think you could probably do just like a blonde fermented super hot and have like a citrus blonde with next to no hops in it. It would be nuts. So that's something that's on the docket for this stuff too. So yeah, that's my story. I gotta go drink some more beer. If anybody wants to come over and drink some triple double hop experiment beer, come on over. If you want to drink some raw Hornindal IPA, it's also here. Some Brett table beer, that's in there too. So I got some beer to go through. Trying to kind of hold on to some of that table beer, because that one's good, and it's just getting better the longer it sits. The Brett character is kind of coming into its own, so maybe I'll shoot a little video about that too. Man, Mike, if I follow through on all these promises, you're going to have videos coming out your ears pretty soon. But I might go Nate Pico style and I'll say these things, and then they'll come out in like 18 to 36 months. So who knows? Anyway, I'm going to go feed my children now and keep chewing through pints. Yeah, do kids. Hornindal. It's what for breakfast and lunch and dinner. Keep farmhouse, or whatever those guys are fighting about on Milk Funk right now. Love you guys. Kisses.